joined now by Pitt State head football coach Tim Beck. Coach Beck will take questions from the group.
Coach Beck, Jim Henry from the Joplin Globe. Seems to me that a lot of times at the end of practice, teams will go through their 2-minute drill and just kind of go through the motions. It's just, it's easy to do. Could you see it really pay off last week?
Well, we have always done it at different times throughout the week, but the last few weeks, we do it on Thursdays at the end of practice against our defense. And sometimes we don't have exactly what the other team's doing defensively, or our defense doesn't have exactly what the other team does. But the bottom line is you get a full-speed defense going against full-speed offense. So I think that's helpful. But it's always something that you spend time working on. We work on it in fall camp, and the best thing about the whole deal last week is our guys understood, and they did a great job of hustling to the line and getting set and allow us to clock it and spike the ball, which we did 4 times. So, Zach did a really nice job, and our receivers did a good job of taking care of the ball, getting first downs, and then getting realigned. So they did a good job of executing.
I assume it was really an up and down emotional roller coaster on the sideline the last 2 minutes.
Oh, it was definitely up and down emotional roller coaster. And, I've had a couple people ask me, did you get upset, or did you, our players were, uneasy enough and upset enough at themselves because they weren't getting things done. So it was more, as coaches, it was just a matter of kind of calming them down and trying to get them to relax a little bit. It's pretty hard to tell somebody to relax, though, after they've had a couple of turnovers right in a row. But, it was very frustrating for our players, as frustrating as it was for the fans and the coaches. If you're a player and you're a part of turning the ball over 5 consecutive possessions, that's pretty frustrating.
And your return game has just been outstanding this year. Have you put more emphasis on the kick returns this year?
I don't know if we put more emphasis. I think our coaches and our players are doing a good job of understanding what we want to get done, and the biggest thing is, got a couple guys that if they have a crease, they can do a lot with it. And so it'd be interesting to see this week, what William Jewell does, because you don't want to kick it to John Brown, and then you kick it to John Thomas, and he returns at 91 yards for a touchdown. So those are exciting plays to me, and special teams are a position where, an area where we feel like if we continue to get better like we have, it should be an area that's on our side.
Coach Nick King from KDTV, knowing that you did win, do you mind the fashion in which you won, or would you still rather have won big?
Well, that's a good question. I think the way that we won will help us down the road. I think when you win a game like that, it gives your kids a lot of confidence in the fact that they're never really going to believe they're out of a game. But on the other hand, we also have to look at the fact that offensively, we should have played a lot better than we did. And, even though we ended up over 400 yards of offense, we should have scored obviously a lot more points than we should have. So, there's no question that we're a little frustrated because we didn't play as well as we needed to offensively, and defensively we gave up some things that we didn't want to. Gave up a couple big plays, but again, if it wasn't for the defense, we would have been down 21, 28 points at halftime. So they did a tremendous job of keeping us in the game. So one thing about it is you can say, well, do you compliment each other? We really complimented each other the other night because our defense was we were allowing us to hang on there at the time, and going into the locker room 13-10 at halftime, felt pretty good actually, after what we'd been through.
What would you say your main emphasis has been this week in practice?
Main emphasis is just understanding that, we have an opportunity to be a decent football team. We have an opportunity to be a good football team. But number one, do we believe that we can be good? And have we completely bought into understanding that you have to play one play at a time, and you have to practice very hard one day at a time? And we talked about the fact that, we're on practice 31 or 32 today, maybe 33, and our seniors are only guaranteed, after today, they're only guaranteed 18 more practices. And so that's not very much time. So we've got a ways to go and a short time to get there, and we've got to continue improving.
What would you want to see to make you believe that they have bought into that?
Well, you'd like to see us go out and play a really physical game, and be efficient offensively. Have some rhythm to us, and not turn the ball over. Continue to get some turnovers on defense, and play a very aggressive football game, and then see how it comes out. And I think if we do that, we'll be happy with the outcome. If we go out there and first or second series turn the ball over again, they're going to have some offensive players looking at each other wondering what's happening.
Coach Brandon Spiegel from KOAM TV and Fox 14 TV. That game against Truman, you guys didn't play great, but found a way to win. If you want to have a successful season, you have to find ways to win games like that, correct?
That's absolutely right. And again, I think that's why I think it'll help us down the road. Our kids are going to believe till the very end in the game. They're going to believe. Now, we also can't rely on the fact that, hey, we might be able to just go down at the end of the game and go do this again. But, I think our kids understand. We believe that, we should have put some points on the game early against Truman. If we would have done that, it would have been a little bit different football game. But again, I'd talked to our kids all week about, I felt like the Truman game is going to be a character-building game. I didn't quite think it would be that way, and wasn't hoping it would be that way. But, we wanted to see what kind of character our kids would have. And they, at the end, they had showed that they were going to play very hard till the end.
And with William Jewell coming in this week, it's your only non-conference opponent. How do you make sure your team stays up for this game?
Well, the first thing is that William Jewell doesn't understand, how good or bad we are, and we don't know for sure how good or bad William Jewell is, and the fact that we don't have any common opponents really, and so we don't know much about their opponents, how good a quality teams they are, and all you can go off of is the video. And like I said, we know that they're going to be well coached because of some of the coaches that coach there, and it's just hard to compare when you don't have somebody you can compare them to.
And if you talk to your team about not overlooking William Jewell, especially with Northwest next week?
Well, again, we made that clear in the locker room after Truman that we play William Jewell this week. That's the only thing that we're concerned about. We'll talk about our next opponent on Sunday.